What's up, the internet? It's Kyle. I'm back in the studio. I miss not getting off the couch for any reason, but I'm here with you, and I'm joined, as always, by the Dan Wickline.
Hola.
This in stores this week.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah. I mean, if everything goes to plan.
Right.
Exactly. So, Dan, it's good to be back, like, in the right place to be doing this with you instead of, like, doing it from the house where it's really hard to do this.
Yeah, or from the actual hospital room.
That's fair. We did that a couple of times.
Yeah, which was a bit ridiculous, dude. You really should have just taken the time off.
So the thing about the hospital that I was in, they don't have a pediatrics unit. So they had no good books. They had no video games. They had no one even remotely my age. There was nothing to do there except watch Friends and work. And if I had watched Friends for the entire time I was in the hospital, I would have had to go to a different hospital and have a padded room for a little while.
Pivot.
So I'm saying, like, you can only watch Friends end to end so many times. And I probably would have gone through it 2 or 3. So needless to say, work was a welcome distraction from the literally nothing else to do.
Fair enough.
The nights I didn't work, my friend would come up and we would play Uno, and we played so many games of Uno that I think I've reinvented the whole meta strategy of the game. So, like, literally I needed work. I needed something. So
okay.
Yeah, that's right. We just talked about meta strategy of the game of Uno.
I didn't know there was a strategy to the game of Uno, let alone a meta strategy.
Yes, the meta strategy is when you play not just to win, but to win in the most, how do I put this? Psychologically dismantling matter of your opponent. Making them cry. Like, if you can make your opponent want to kill you, then you've played the meta game.
You've definitely watched too many episodes of Friends, haven't you?
Yeah, I was pretty bored.
Yeah.
So, but comics are a thing.
Yep.
I did read a lot of comics while I was in the hospital.
Hey, that's a good idea.
I read literally everything in my Comixology library, and then had to sign up for a library card remotely from the hospital so I could check out more books to read more. Again, there was nothing to do. So, but let's talk about some stuff that's coming out this week. And I'm going to start with a DC book, and it's a trade. So it's on my list and not Dan's, which is really weird.
Yeah, first thing, you having a DC book on your list. That's... what did they do to you in the hospital?
Well, it's not really a DC book. It's Joe Hill.
Yeah, and it's Black Label, so...
Yeah, it's Basket Full of Heads. Like, okay. Come on. Like, this is directly up my alley. June Branch is in trouble. She's trapped on Brody Island with nowhere to run. Her boyfriend Liam has been kidnapped, and four bloodthirsty escaped convicts will stop at nothing to find her. All poor June has to defend herself with is a strange Viking axe with the terrifying power to decapitate a person and leave their head still talking. If she's going to save Liam and herself, June will have to keep a cool head or even a whole basket full of them. From #1 New York Times bestselling author Joe Hill, from Nav Nosferatu and Lock and Key, comes Basket Full of Heads, the flagship title in the smash hit Hill House Comics library, featuring incredible artwork by Leo Max, who did Lucifer. This spine-tingling collection includes the entire 7-issue miniseries, as well as character designs and behind-the-scenes sketches. Get it? See why it's on my list now?
Mm-hmm.
It's a me book all over.
So many questions.
Like?
If they chop their heads off, how are they still talking? Because
It's the special power of the axe.
But doesn't
The
it
axe
chop
is
through the
magic.
vocal cords?
Well, not if you cut them real low. Your vocal cords are a little higher in your throat. If you cut them real low.
But also, doesn't it take air?
It's a magic axe, dude. Like, I think we're trying to just put too much faith in the power of human physics, human physiology. This is a magic axe.
Anytime I wrote horror, I also took into play at least a logical semblance of reality. What 30 Days a Night, when I had them trying to transfer the vampiric organisms to people through alcohol. I did it through beer because there's active live culture in beer, and that's what I had. So, I mean, there was a logical, scientific approach to it. I just don't see it here.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Are you a descendant of Stephen King?
I haven't checked. I could do but no, I do realize that Joe Hill is Stephen King's son.
Yeah. If your dad invented a car that just randomly kills people that it doesn't like, would you put too much effort into making an axe that like followed the laws of physics?
Yeah, I would. Yes.
Okay.
That's just the way I write.
I'm just saying, genetically, I don't know that it's in Joe Hill's
you
capability. We all have read, we've all seen or read Christine. So, All right. Comics and logic don't go in the same sentence. It's true. All right.
They do when I write them. They do when I write them.
I like when people put logic in their comics, but also I like when people imbue inanimate objects with special powers, like a talking gun or an axe that lets heads keep talking. Or my personal favorite, a bunny that will murder you. So, but next up, we'll go with another DC book, one that follows more logic. In that this one features actual superheroes. This is Suicide Squad 2021 Annual #1.
Yeah, by Robbie Thomas and Dexter Soy. Everyone questioned how the teen calling himself Connor Kent came to be recruited into the Suicide Squad by Amanda Waller. And I gotta admit, I kind of wondered that one too. But as Superboy sneaks into the bowels of a top secret Task Force X black site, what he finds changes all he thinks he knows about himself and his history. This oversized annual alters everything for the only hero in the squad and makes him question what to do next, now that he knows what is the truth behind his origin. Now, this is a character we've known for a long time. From the death of Superman, this guy came along. He's half a clone of Clark Kent or Superman and half a clone of Lex Luthor. Now they're going to go and change that all up.
And what was Amanda Waller his surrogate? Did I guess the ending of the book?
Don't know. I haven't read it. I'm just kind of curious. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah,
absolutely. I think the whole thing is that Amanda Waller is like the egg donor or something in this is an interesting take. Like now he's got to join the Suicide Squad because he was born with a bomb in his head.
Yeah, I'm not sure how cloning works if you just take cells from two males.
That's what I'm saying.
So it does seem like there should have been another participant.
Correct.
That's interesting.
If I just when somebody reads this book tomorrow, because it's not on my list, if I guess the ending, would you shoot the experience a message on Facebook and be like, Kyle, you're a prophet.
Sean, we're looking at you.
Yeah. This is how we test these things. If you read this book tomorrow and I just guessed the ending, that Amanda Waller is his mom, somebody hit me up and let me know.
Mama Waller.
Yeah, I will go off the air forever if I guess that ending. All right. The next book up is Bountiful Garden. This is from Mad Cave Studios. This is Ivy Noel Weir and Kelly Williams in the year 2200. So 180 years from now.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. In the year 2200, 180 years from now, a team of teenage scientists are sent on a terraforming mission to a distant planet. Selected as the best and brightest of their generation, architect Jonas, botanist Marnie, biologist Jane, engineers Anya and Kamari. Why do they have to give these kids hard names? And security detail Kurt are all put into cryostasis, expected to wake up when it is time to prepare to land on their assigned planet. When they are awakened abruptly 10 years early, halted above a strange planet, the teens are tasked with trying to figure out why they're stalled, or what stalled them. As they break into two teams, one tasked with fixing the ship, the other with exploring the unknown planet below, they're faced with an increasingly nightmarish scenario as they encounter a cosmic horror that seems to not only have attacked their ship, but also their minds.
You know what no one ever does? Sci-fi stories where everything just goes well.
Wasn't that DS9? Isn't that why most people hate it?
No, DS9 wasn't all everything going well.
I'm sorry, I just mistaked Scott Bakula being there for everything going well.
Okay, first thing, DS9 wasn't Scott Bakula.
I know. I'm just mixing up Star Treks now just to piss people off. Anyone that doesn't have LeVar Burton and Whoopi Goldberg in it is not good. Fight me.
By the way, Jeopardy, just hire LeVar Burton. It's what everybody wants.
Yes.
Just do it.
Yes. No, it's true. Nobody ever does sci-fi where things go as planned, but I think that's where the fi comes from. Otherwise, it would just be sci, and we could read the Journal of Science. We could read Scientific American Discovery or something, and But I agree. I'm interested to see this story play out, and I'm interested to see the future of sci-fi as the world becomes more sci-fi every day.
Mm-hmm.
It could be very interesting.
Yeah.
To see what happens. So, but I like this book. I love the art, and Mad Cave has been one of those companies that has been on fire lately. So shout out Mad Cave and my dude Manny over at Mad Cave. All right, so the next book, we're going to have a little debate, Dan, about how do you say the main character's name? Is it Kazar or Kazar?
Kazar.
Okay, because I always knew it as Kazar.
Then you always knew it as wrong.
I understand, but the hyphen has always made it a little confusing.
Kazar. Which part of that is confusing?
The A after the K. A after K is Ka. If there's a Y or an E, I will grant you that it could be K.
What if it was a hyphen? Not a hyphen, apostrophe.
So the Tsar is owned by Ka?
Like Kal-El has how they put, they put a hyphen in there too. It's just how in alien names they'll put an apostrophe in to replace a letter.
Right. I would then accept Kazar or Kazar. But he is the Lord of Savage Land.
Right.
And I'm glad that Marvel is returning to the Savage Lands.
I wondered if they would after they got Conan back.
It's true.
It really didn't need them, but this is a new series coming from Zach Thompson and is it German or Herman Garcia?
I think it's Herman, but yes.
Herman. Okay.
But it totally looks like German.
Yeah.
German Garcia.
Herman Garcia. Yeah. When your first G is an H and the second one's a G, that's much more confusing to me than whether or not to call it Kazar.
That's fair.
Yeah. Kazar is back from the dead with a whole new terrifying set of powers. I don't remember him having many powers in the past. The alien Kotai murdered him. The Savage Land brought him back. Lord Plunder has returned with a vastly new perspective, now united with Shanna the She-Devil. In a mystical merging of life energies, Kazar has new abilities, new needs, and a new enemy. An ancient evil has surfaced in the Savage Lands, one that is rapidly reshaping the Forgotten World and its inhabitants. Kazar and Shayna must fight together to protect their home and family, but their son Matthew has plans of his own. Don't miss the spectacular adventure through the Lost Lands by Zach Thompson and Herman Garcia.
I you know what? I wonder if it's not German Garcia.
Yeah,
because of where the tildes are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'd like pronunciation guides, please.
Yes, please.
We'd like to give these people their proper due, but also, if you're named Kazar, and okay, he wasn't Eric Plunderer, was he? What was?
Oh God, you're gonna ask me to remember the Golden Age?
Anyway, but how did they come up with the name Matthew as their kid?
Well, yeah, if you're Kazar or Kazar and your wife is Shayna, or Shauna,
Shauna.
It's Shayna, but right. And you name your kid Matthew.
Yeah.
Clearly, you just bought a naming book and went like this. So, all right. Yeah, I'm glad they're going back to the Savage Lands. Last time they were in the Savage Lands, we had to go with the space puppy had to take us there.
By the way, his name is Kevin. It's on the cover.
Kevin the Plunderer.
Kevin Plunder is his name. I think Eric was his brother, who was also the villain.
I hate him. So,
if I was named Kevin, I'd probably want to go by Kazar as well.
It's true. It's cooler. All right. So we have a question in the comments from Flashback LG. What comics should I buy and put away? The answer is anything that originally cost 15 cents or less. None of these books this week are things you should invest in if you're intending to pay for something later by selling comic books.
You might want to dig through the back issue bins and see if anybody's left in the dollar slots any of the original Eternals by Jack Kirby.
Stuff like that. Anything that was like 15 cents or cheaper originally.
Mm-hmm.
So. All right. Michael Moorcock's Elric, the Dreaming City, #2.
I got #1 here. I have #2. #1 looked gorgeous. It was just an absolute great read.
Yeah, I mean, like, you and I have both kind of talked about our fondness for Michael Moorcock.
Yes.
And of the Elric stories. So I put this one in because, yeah, the first one was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So good looking. So it was such a fun read to delve back into that universe a little bit with that original writings. And then the art on the inside was just a perfect representation of what this book could be.
Yep. Here's #1 with the Mike Mignola cover.
Well, yeah, you got to get the Mike Mignola cover.
Well, absolutely. But let me just show you a couple of the interior pages. Kind of like how Nick used to do this when we were doing the show with him.
Even though showing books cover or insides from this week is illegal. But that's an old book, so we're good.
Yes. And just
Sean Butler, unless you've read an Elric book, you probably haven't read anything by Michael Moorcock.
Right.
It was really this, and did he work on Willow a little?
I don't remember.
It was really this, though. Like, this was the Elric stories were really the thing. Let's see. He did... Let's see what other comics. They're all Elric. He did write some Conan, and he wrote Hawkmoon at First Comics.
Right.
But yeah, he had a run on Conan a couple of times, but it's mostly this Elric. He wrote Tom Strong. I forgot about his run on Tom Strong.
Oh, that's right. By the way, you can come back on screen now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot I was off screen for a second. I mean, I forgot about his run. It was America's First Comics. Like, I forgot about his run on Tom Strong. That's a character you should take a stab at, Dan.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Has that Doc Savage vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go to...
Alan, if you're watching, I'd like to write the character.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, this is The Me You Love in the Dark. This is a perfect example of how someone's art can be one thing, and their writing can be another, as this is written by Scotty Young. Art by Jorge Corona. Artist Roe, hiding out in an old house, hoping for artistic lightning to strike, begins to feel even more strongly connected to the shadowy presence she's been communicating with. Writer Scotty Young of I Hate Fairyland, Deadpool, and Strange Academy, and artist Jorge Corona of Number One with a Bullet, Super Sons, and Feathers follow up their critically acclaimed series Middle West with a brand new haunting tale. Fans of Stephen King and Neil Gaiman will enjoy this beautiful, dark, and disturbing story of discovery, love, and terror. Okay. So the solicitation does a really bad job of telling you what's happening in this book. Like, real bad. The Me You Love in the Dark is the story of this girl, Roe, who goes to a... she's trying to get away. She's burnt out. She's not feeling artistically fulfilled. She's got some creative block. She's trying to get away. And so she buys this house out in the middle of nowhere. And they tell her that it's haunted. So she moves into the house and basically begins to, what's the word I'm looking for? Try to piss off a ghost.
Good hobby.
Yeah, she basically tries to do everything in her power to get this ghost to come at her. Like, to antagonize this ghost. And it starts to work. And so she begins to feel more and more connected with it. And this is issue 2, which continues down that path.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, rule number 1, don't piss off a ghost. I have a story about this, ironically. I have to go to Baltimore in a few weeks for work, and I'm supposed to stay at a place called the Admiral Fell Inn.
What did he fall into?
Exactly. I've been advised to not make that joke while I'm there because it might piss off the ghosts of the Admiral Fell Inn, which is the most haunted hotel on the Eastern Seaboard. So you know I'm gonna, right?
Yes.
I'm traveling out there with tons and tons of camera equipment and like all this electronics. I'm gonna try and shoot a whole episode of like that Ghost Hunters show with no knowledge of how to do it. Just me making dad jokes at a ghost in a hotel room.
The trick to doing ghost shows like that is simply this.
Right. It's called a whip pan.
Yeah.
Where you just turn really quickly with your camera and focus on nothing.
Yep.
It's true. And you have to use low resolution cameras and have the batteries go dead and everything. I know how to make the show, but like, I've just been already advised not to make that joke, which I think is maybe the greatest thing I've ever been told by another human being. Hey, Kyle, we know your tendencies. Don't want you to get haunted. I want to get haunted.
Mm.
It does have to be in the dark for whatever reason, JD Smith. Like, why are ghosts not active during the day? Like, do they not have, like, what is the point?
Because they're on the graveyard shift.
I'm using that one too. Just as an interesting aside, the reason I'm going to Baltimore is actually to film documentary footage inside the oldest catacombs in the United States that you can still visit and walk through at the Westminster burial grounds, which is the place where Edgar Allan Poe is buried. So
I assume this is for the Poe Museum?
It's for a documentary I'm making in conjunction with them and several other organizations. But interestingly enough, they won't let me have Poe exhumed. I asked.
Of course you asked. It sounds like you thought you might get it.
Well, if you don't ask, you can never know.
What
But
was
they
your
also
reason? What was your reason?
to see, because that would be the best footage. Like, they also won't let me stick a drill cam down into where his casket is supposed to be. I asked that one too. Let's take a break. Dan needs to recover.
If you could get Admiral Fell Ghost to come with you, he could check out the tomb for you.
So I now have to get possessed and convince the thing that's going to possess me or haunt me to help me out. All right, it's on.
Just say, the ghost of Edgar Allan Poe over at his museum made this Admiral Fell joke. You got to come with me and go set him straight.
It's on.
Pit the ghosts against each other.
It's on like Donkey Kong. Oh, such a good idea. Let's take a break.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
What's up, the internet? It's Kyle. We're back. This is In Stores This Week. I need you to do me a favor, though. If you see something like this, come onto your screen. Get out your phone, get out your tablet, get out whatever computerized device you have where you're not watching this, and scan that thing, and then do what it says. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join our mailing list. All of these things help us do better. Dan and I are only as good as, well, we're going to get. But it makes the channel better. It helps the channel do good, and it helps us to break our algorithms. If you could also hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. Like, if there's a button you can click on that doesn't take you away from our show, go ahead and click on that. It would be hugely helpful for us. It would make Dan and I feel good about ourselves. And that's always helpful because, like, as bearded people, we need to feel good about ourselves.
Before we get into the books, and I think you'll see that this is going to lead us into one of the books.
Okay.
If you follow me on Facebook, you might notice that I pay regular tribute to two pretty amazing actors.
So Michael Caine.
Michael Caine and Sean Connery.
I can't do a Sean Connery. I could do a little bit of a Michael Caine.
Yes, Miss Moneypenny. On Fridays, I do Sean Connery, and on Mondays, I do your Monday Caine. Well, this week, I came across a Michael Caine movie I had never heard of before, directed by Oliver Stone. And I thought, oh my gosh, Oliver Stone, JFK, Platoon. I'm expecting this big dramatic movie. Michael Caine plays a comic book artist who is in a car accident and loses his right hand. And my thought is, well, this must be about him overcoming tragedy and learning to... No. It's a schlock horror movie where the hand comes back and murders anybody that upsets Michael Caine. Yes, JD, the hand. And as I was reading up on this and doing I do like a good paragraph and a half or two blurb about the movie, and I get some trivia and stuff. It's just a fun little thing I do. And one of the things I came across is that all of the artwork in the comic or in the movie is done by Barry Windsor Smith, who was doing Conan at the time. And the character that the artist is drawing in the comics is a cross between Conan and Prince Valiant. So if you want to see a really bad horror movie, this is considered one of Michael Caine's paycheck movies. And when they asked him why he did The Hand, he said, well, I had just put a down payment on a garage I was having built on my property, and I was hoping to pay it off.
What was the one that he said, I've never seen such and such movie, but I have seen the beach house it bought?
Oh, there's a couple that it could be. That was probably Beyond the Poseidon Adventure.
No, yeah, it was a Jaws.
Jaws the Revenge.
Yes.
There is a group of movies called his paycheck movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simply he took them for the paycheck. But speaking of Barry Windsor Smith and Conan.
Oh, so you don't want to do the one about obscure movies that nobody's heard of? The comic book that's about that?
Do we really have a movie?
Yes. We'll do the one you want first. We'll do the Conan, the O'Brien first. And then we'll do the book that I was referencing second. Okay.
Conan the Barbarian number 35, or excuse me, 25. This is a huge one. This is the technical 300th episode or issue. You know how they do the legacy numbers? But this is Dan Slott, Larry Hama, Jim Zub, Christopher Priest, Roberto De La Torre, Paul Davidson, Corey Smith, Marcos Martin, and it says it's been 300 issues since Roy Thomas and Barry Windsor Smith first brought the Barbarian to the 1970s Conan the Barbarian number 1. To the 1970s, excuse me. Conan's oversized 300th issue spectacular kicks off with Jim Zub and Corey Smith's ongoing saga as we return to Conan's much-lauded days sailing with the Queen of Seas herself, Balit. But past, present, and future will collide in ways unexpected and strange. Sharpen your blade for 3 additional all-new tales from across Conan history. Dan Slott enters the Hyborian Age with Marcos Martin for an untold Night of Oblivion from Conan's thieving days. Larry Hama and Christopher Priest at last return to saga with their own new stories from a hot-headed young barbarian in a battle to an aging King Conan, who must defend the kingdom from the reemergence of Raul, the Devourer of Souls. So Conan 25, but it's legacy number 300. And I just like how that all swings back around to Barry Windsor Smith.
Well, and this is a Kevin Eastman variant. It's the 1 in 10. That's the thing about this book that has me. I will buy the Kevin Eastman variant, and that will likely be it. The thing about this that I feel is a big drop for them.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are unpublished Barry Windsor Smith Conan pieces.
That would have been huge.
Put it on a cover, make it a 1 in 1,000. I don't really give a damn. But publish a new piece of Barry Windsor Smith art, please. Like Conan the Barbarian only exists because of the way he looked in Barry Windsor Smith's head. I am a huge Barry Windsor Smith fan, and it's one of the greatest disappointments in my life that I never got to meet him. But I have all the Barry Windsor Smith Conans. They're the only Conans I own. I've not bothered to collect beyond that. But I think that would have been the best tribute for the 300th issue. And Marvel, if you're out there saving it for the 500th issue or the 1,000, one of those things, just somebody shoot me a text and say so.
Yeah,
like that's kind of where I'm at. And I want to tell you, I shot an email to Roy Thomas's manager.
Mm-hmm.
To try to get him to come on to talk to us about Conan. And I haven't heard back, but we're still waiting. We're still trying.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anybody who wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I know Larry Hama has talked very highly of his time on Conan as well. And so shout out to Larry. All right. Okay. So the next book that kind of vaguely relates to Dan's anecdote is Dead Box.
Oh, that was on my list too. You're right. I see what you mean. I see where you're going with that.
Dead Box is from Vault Comics. And the fact that it's on Dan's list and my list says something. Because this is not normally a Dan Wickline kind of makes Dan's list.
No, it's not. But this one jumped out at me. And I'm like,
yes.
Yeah, I've got to check this out. And part of it is just the town name, but you go ahead.
Right. So this is Mark Russell and Ben Teesma. With a Corin Howell variant, which is very cool. So this is Welcome to the Town of Lost Turkey, where if you can't find your luncheon meat, you'll fit right in. No, I'm kidding. Welcome to the Town of Lost Turkey, where the main source of entertainment is a cursed DVD machine that seems to know more about the fate of its citizens than they do. So this is a cautionary tale about why you shouldn't have digital media that isn't printed. So basically you have a red box machine in this small town that has a bunch of movies nobody's ever heard of. And you can't find them on the internet if you look them up. You can only get them from this box. And so people get them and they watch them, and the stories they tell seem eerily familiar, but so people start to feel like they're getting deja vu. Except that the end of the movies are things that haven't happened yet. You have 14 days to live. Is that The Ring?
No, that's 7.
Okay. I thought 7 was what's in the box.
No, that's the movie 7. It was you have 7 days to live, not 14.
Okay, whatever. I just 2 calendar weeks, please. Whenever extraterrestrial, spiritual, demon thing comes for me, can I get 14 calendar days? I'm going to need to make arrangements at work.
Got to put time off.
Yeah, I got to put in my notice.
Yeah, we got to give 2 week notice. It's only
right.
fair.
Dan will have to find a new co-host. It'll be a whole thing.
Yeah.
But no, this is Dead Box. I everything about this screams, gee, what if Randall was working at the movie store in Clerks and it was real messed up? So.
It reads to me like a modern day Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, it very much has that vibe, and it's Mark Russell. Like,
yeah,
who is one of the best writers going, in my opinion. You may know Mark Russell from his work on Fantastic Four, Red Sonja. Another book we're going to talk about this week, the Flintstones. Why don't we go to Mark Russell's other book?
Okay.
Not All Robots, number 2. So Not All Robots is, again, it's Mark Russell, and I have Mike Deodato is the artist.
Mm-hmm.
If you have Mike Deodato and you're having covers like this, you know the inside is fire. In the year 2056, robots have replaced human beings in the workforce. All of them. The only job that human beings are still doing is hairdresser, because when robots did that job, bad things happened. An uneasy coexistence develops between the newly intelligent robots and the 10 billion humans living on Earth. Every human family is assigned a robot upon whom they are completely reliant. What could possibly go wrong? Meet the Walkers, a human family whose robot, Razorball, ominously spends his free time in their garage working on machines which they're pretty sure are designed to kill them.
I remember the solicitation from issue 1. It sounded pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
Just repeating the same solicitation each week?
Well, let me go back and read you the solicitation for number 1. Yeah, the only difference in the solicitation between number 1 and number 2 is that it tells you who Mark Russell and Mike Deodato Jr. are. Let's look at number 3. Ironically, the same as number 1. Look. This is iRobot, but more heavy-handed. And again, Mike Deodato Jr. interiors. Like, and JD Smith says Andy Kubert and Mike Deodato Jr. were 2 artists I could never get excited about. Call me a hater if you must. Yeah, I mean, I can call you a hater. I get it. I'm not a big fan of Mike Deodato covers. I do like his interiors, and flip that for Andy Kubert. Never been a big fan of his interiors, but I love his covers. So it's to each his own. But if somebody with the talent level of Mike Deodato Jr. is drawing the insides of your book. Oh, and by the way, it's from a company as small as AWA. He's probably doing Axel Alonso a favor, and I'm here for it. All right, let's get back kind of on track here, and we'll talk about the biggest movie in the world.
Yes, Shang-Chi.
Except we're going to talk about the comic book.
Yes. I've been reading this series and really enjoying it. Gene Luen Yang and Dyke Ruan.
Ruan.
Yeah, this is basically Shang-Chi touring the Marvel Universe. At first it was Spider-Man, then it was Captain America, then it was Wolverine, and now with the episode 4, it's the Fantastic Four. Someone's been sending Shang-Chi strange messages in his dreams, and the messages seem to be coming from the negative zone. But who is sending them these messages, and what do they mean, and why are the Fantastic Four standing in his way? This whole thing is he's become the head of the 5 Weapons, I believe is the name of the gang.
Yeah.
And it's now looks like he's a bad guy, and he keeps pitting him against heroes, but he's still a hero at heart, and it's just been a fun series, and it's really nice to see Shang-Chi get the spotlight in the comics again. It's kind of cyclical. He'll pop up and then go away and pop up. So it's nice to see they have this series coming out and to coincide with the movie.
Absolutely. All right. Okay. I can't click the right button, dummy. All right. The Search for Who. This is from Aftershock. The title I know sounds like an Abbott and Costello joke, but it's not. This is Steve Orlando, John Shui, and artist is Rubin. But Aaron C lives for his family, and if he's not careful, he'll die for its secrets. When he left the military, Aaron C's first thought was providing for his aging parents. His parents' bar is experiencing hard times, and one night it's shot to hell with his parents critically injured in the attack. But this was no ordinary robbery. Aaron's mother reveals that she fled China to escape a blood feud between the Jewish and Chinese sides of her family, both of which are powerful, organized crime families. Peace existed between these two families, and the Margolis, but now it's been broken, and Aaron must protect his parents from further violence. Aaron hops a plane to the homeland he never intended to explore on a path to revenge he never wanted to walk. Written by John Shui of Sarah and the Royal Stars and Run, Love, Kill, Steve Orlando of Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, Kill a Man, Project Patron, and literally a million other great books. And drawn by artist sensation Rubin, Search for Who is a fast-paced, action-packed exploration of complex cultural histories powered by a bloody family feud. So it's the Hatfields and the McCoys, but with triads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve Orlando. But also, and I've said this several times on several different shows now, if your store has an Aftershock ambassador, the ambassador variant for this is fire. It's so good. It's so beautiful. I almost wish I was at home so I could go grab my copy and show you. Also, if any of my ambassador stores that I have to visit are watching this, sorry, surgery. I'll be back soon. That was the one Dan got on me for working too much during my recovery. That's the one job I didn't do, is I didn't drive all around the comic book stores.
Well, I would hope not.
Right.
Especially since you were in the hospital.
I understand. All right. Next book is a book that I've talked about several times, but it's finally all out in trade paperback form. This is Sengi and Tembo from Scout Comics. It's by Giuseppe Falco. The African savanna, a windswept expanse of tall grass, and few all too rare trees, overwhelming heat, and more than a few hungry predators. Sengi, the little mouse, finds himself alone after the death of his mother and must learn how to survive. Tembo, the old elephant, feels that his life is coming to an end, so he decides to leave his herd to try to reach the land without beginning, a mythical place accessible by a secret passage to the west. These two disparate lives, that of the pragmatic mouse and the even-tempered element, will collide and join paths.
The even-tempered element?
Elephant. Even-tempered heffalump.
All right. Mr. Snuffleupagus.
Mm-hmm. Even though Mr. Snuffleupagus was a mammoth. Anyhow. Moving on. From Scout Comics, another Scout book, Corset. I have to cough. That's awkward for me. Excuse me. By Juri Kearney and Elena Kiyushnikova. That was a tough one. Master Gregory Dalpin is a world-famous fashion designer and inventor. His groundbreaking corsets fascinate and inspire millions of people around the world. It's been years since he showed his face in public. Living in seclusion in his mysterious clock tower high above the Gothic city. One night, a young and naive girl, Elise, ruins the master's grand fashion show. De Alpin invites her to his tower, where he plans to reveal his dark secrets to her. But first, she must give him something in return. Why do I feel like this is a face swap book?
Ooh. That went dark.
I don't know. But everything about this book's got me creeped out, and I like it.
Cool.
So, Defenders.
Yes, this caught my attention for one simple reason, which is the Mother of Galactus.
So we had this debate earlier. What are multiple Galactuses? Is it Galactuses like cactuses? Is it Galacti? Galactians? That'd be if they're from Galactus.
Yeah. I think Galactuses are probably the better way to go, but Galacti is kind of a cool version.
So if you have if it's a murder of ravens, and you have a school of fish, and you have a pack of so many other animals, what do you call multiple Galactuses in one place?
A herald.
A buffet.
Because
they just eat everything.
Cute. So, Defenders number 2, Al Ewing and Javier Rodriguez, the Mother of Galactus. The Defenders find themselves in the birthplace of Galactus, but the Devourer is not the man they remember. Meet Taya, Omnimax, and more as Al Ewing and Javier Rodriguez expand the cosmos and put Doctor Strange's makeshift magical team in extreme jeopardy. The Mother of freaking Galactus.
Well, and it sounds like there might be more.
Yeah, like there's a race of these planet eaters.
I hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. No, I'm done. I'm out. It's over. Can't do it.
Yep. A race of Galactuses. Galacti.
See, Galactuses rolls off the tongue, though.
Yeah, but Galacti sounds better.
When is Intergalactic Mother's Day? I don't know. I think you have to ask the maid from Spaceballs.
Mega Maid.
She'll know.
Yep.
All right. Maze book. Jeff Lemire.
I like Jeff Lemire, his writing. I like Jeff Lemire better when he's doing the whole book.
Yes.
This is Jeff Lemire doing the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
A lonely building inspector, still grieving the loss of his puzzle-loving daughter, receives a mysterious phone call one night from a girl claiming it's her, and that she's trapped in the middle of a labyrinth. Convinced that the child is contacting him from beyond this world, he uses an unfinished maze from one of her journals and a map of the city to trace an intricate path through a different plane of reality on an intense and melancholy adventure to bring his daughter back home. This sounds just amazing to me. This sounds like a movie waiting to happen. A big dramatic movie, you know?
Have you read Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman?
Yes.
It kind of has that vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, this sounds like it's intense. Yeah, I love the cover on it. And just the idea that this is Jeff doing everything means that it's all just going to be how he wants it.
Yep.
And that to me is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I like Jeff Lemire better when he does it all. Same way I like Dan Jurgens better when he does it all.
Yeah.
I think this is a great pickup for somebody who's looking for a book that's a little off the beaten path.
That also sounds very personal.
Yes, it does. It sounds like it's going to hit you where it hurts, which is the heartstrings.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, it's that time again, Dan.
Break time?
Yeah. Should we tell more ghost jokes?
I could dig that.
Or I'm just going to make a reference that we made to a show earlier. Paper, snow, a ghost, and throw to break. I'm hoping no one got that reference. All right. We'll be right back.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you. What's up, the internet? Welcome back to In Stores this week. I continue to be Kyle. That person continues to be Dan Wickline, unless he tries to be someone else, like he was earlier on the Dan Wickline show, where he was Bender from Futurama for a minute.
Crow T Robot.
I just changed him to any random robot from pop culture at some point, and the half goat man from Mono's The Hand of Fate. Dan, tell everybody what's coming up on the Dan Wickline show this week.
On Thursday, we'll be talking about the zombie episode of What If that will debut tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on local time. Tomorrow,
we'll see. But I really wanted you to plug that. If you watch the Marvel Zombies episode of What If, and you need someone to explain to you what is happening, and why they're zombies, and why they're eating brains, Dan is your guy.
Yeah, we do a spoiler-filled discussion. You guys can come in and share your thoughts, your opinions, and we break it all down, just like we did last week with that super dark episode with Doctor Strange, and the week before with the little murder mystery going on. Yes. I won't say any more about the murder mystery because JD is not caught up on What If.
Neither am I. And I just keep thinking that it's the Marvel Zombies week, so I just have the song Re Your Brains stuck in my head. If you're not familiar with Re Your Brains, you should go watch that music video.
I know that one. My nephew introduced me to it.
Man, that's somebody I need to send that email. I want to get Jonathan Colton here on the experience and just talk to him about. So there's a creepy doll. It always follows you. And just talk to him about his songs. And how Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise crazy. Just be glad it's him, not you. All right. Star Trek Mirror War. I'm told there are no tribbles in this book, so I am interested. Not at all.
I'm interested in this one mainly because it's the mirror universe. You know,
we can have mirror tribbles.
But Mirror Kirk and they suddenly had facial hair. Would mirror tribbles just be little balls of skin?
No, mirror tribbles wouldn't multiply randomly. They would be super helpful.
Okay. Star Trek The Next Generation, The Mirror War, number 0 by Scott Tipton, David Timpton. I'm going to go ahead and guess they're related.
Probably.
Carlos Nieto. And they say, get caught up with the Mirror Enterprise D before its crew helmed by Jean-Luc Picard faces new threats and challenges in the upcoming Mirror War event. Following the failure of the attempt to steal ships from the Prime Universe, Picard and the Mirror crew are called back to Earth to report to the Emperor personally, so long as they can survive the trip.
This is a miniseries, and what I can tell you is that every issue in the miniseries is revolving around a different Star Trek character. So, like, this is issue 0 is the whole crew. Issue 1 is Picard. Issue 2 is Worf. Shout out to my dude Michael Dorn. Yeah, it's you know, the Mirror Universe is great, but like, again, as I said earlier, give me Whoopi Goldberg and LeVar Burton or give me nothing.
JD points out that Picard looks like a gym rat there. He reminds me of, remember when J.K. Simon was posting pictures of working out and he was all buff and stuff, but he still had like the old man beard and shaved head?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're going to get your ass kicked by an 80-year-old. You know?
So to get that jacked, do you know who J.K. Simmons was working out with?
I do not.
He's a guy named Mickey Moriarty, who is the strength and conditioning and hype coach at Ohio State. J.K. Simmons went to Ohio State and is originally from Columbus, Ohio. So he needed to get jacked for a role, and he called the football team. He was like, can you send me somebody to help me? And they're like, yeah, we got a guy. He's kind of insane. He'll be perfect.
I feel like with all those mentions of Ohio State, I have to say go blue and Wolverines. But yeah.
Hey, if you want the Russians to attack you, that's fine. All right. No, and the only reason I know that is that my friend was an assistant there at the time. I'm an Ohio State fan, but I would not have known that unless somebody would be like, dude, you know the guy from the Allstate commercials or whatever? The farmers commercials? He's like working out in the weight room right now.
You mean Skoda from all the Law and Order shows?
Well, yeah, him too. But like,
yeah,
you know, but also like the guy from like, seen it, we've covered it.
Yep.
All right. Next book is this book may wind up being my pick of the week. But it is from Dark Horse Comics. This is Last Flight Out.
Yes.
Which is a reference. There are several historical references to be had here. But this is still somehow a sci-fi futuristic thing. Earth rendered uninhabitable, humanity has chosen to evacuate to the stars. However, with just 24 hours left until the last ark leaves wherever, the designer's estranged daughter goes missing. Can he find her before time runs out and repair the relationship before it's too late? Family, fatherhood, and the hunt for forgiveness shape this thrilling apocalyptic tale by great apocalyptic writer Mark Guggenheim and artist Eduardo Ferragato.
Yes. Eduardo worked with me on Sinbad for a while. And Mark Guggenheim, you may know him also for this little thing he helped create called the Arrowverse. You know, co-creator of Arrow and The Flash and all those series over there.
Yeah. You know, you not exactly, Sean. This is a little more think the episode of Loki where they're running through the city trying to get to the ship. Spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen Loki. Except, like, this is the whole thing. And, like, some of the interesting things about this book that I've heard is that there are, like, anti-spacers. People who are staying on Earth, like, they refuse to go to space. But it's really this story about how to rebuild a relationship that maybe wasn't so strong to begin with. And it's this idea of the last flight out. You hear stories about the last flight out of Vietnam. You hear stories about the last flight out on D-Day. You hear stories about the last flight out is always this big moment. We just witnessed a last flight out last week.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things is that you look back on it and was it always the right move? Was it always the right thing to do? And what's the fallout years later? So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Yep. All right. I didn't really want to talk about Afghanistan, but it's a thing. All right. So let's talk about Toxin. Something that's definitely happier.
I'm really interested in this series, but the solicitation texts aren't that
Toxin
great.
Returns.
Yep. Toxin Returns. Bren Waters, the new host of Toxin, enters the fray. Will he be enough to turn the tide? Steve Orlando, Gerardo Sandoval. I find it interesting that they're giving us a new Toxin right now, since there's a chance we're going to get Toxin, I think it is, in the Venom movie. And it's going to be, we're being introduced to the detective who becomes Toxin. So it's like, well, they're going to bring Toxin into the movie. Well, we better give him a new one instead. Is this just Marvel going, we don't like Sony?
I think so. I think that's a level of it. I mean, I think there's a level of Marvel just trying to be like, here's a thing you can't use. Yeah. This is the Scotty Young variant. And for those of you who are unaware of what that talk bubble says, it says, so of all the things you could have gotten from the ice cream truck, you decided to eat the one that looks like you. You decided to eat the one that looks a lot like you. That's a lot to unpack. I love Scotty Young covers so much. All right. Yeah, the Extreme Carnage stuff, the fact that everything's a one-shot in it really has turned me off.
Really?
To the whole of it.
Yeah.
But Toxin is one of the symbiotes I've always liked. So I picked this one up the same way I picked up Scream a few weeks back. I find myself picking up the symbiotes I like, not necessarily the whole series.
I can see that.
So, I mean, there's out there in the comments, do you have a favorite symbiote? And if you say Venom or Carnage, I'm coming for you. But do you have a favorite non-Venom or Carnage symbiote that you're excited to have seen in this series or to see them coming back soon? Tell us in the comments. All right. Impossible Jones, #1 from Scout Comics. This is my dude, Carl Kessel. The explosive first issue. The gritty origin of comics' newest sensation. A thief gets powers, is mistaken for a superhero, and runs with it. With no intention of giving up her criminal ways, mind you. With these powers, are you crazy? All she has to do is fool all the people all of the time. It's not impossible. It's Impossible Jones. Full Throttle Thrills by Carl Kessel of Harley Quinn and David Hahn of Batman 66.
Grim and Gritty origin?
Grin and Gritty.
Oh, Grin and Gritty. That's totally different.
Mm-hmm. So basically the story is that the character there in the middle is think Catwoman. Except with superpowers, more superpowers than Catwoman, I suppose. And everybody thinks she's a superhero. So if everybody thinks you're a superhero and you're not, why would you tell them otherwise?
Right.
Might as well lean into it, see what you can get away with. Mm-hmm. Using her powers for good, not evil, mostly. There is an interview here on The Experience a while back where Henri actually talked to Carl Kessel about this very book. So just search that on our YouTube channel. Another book that is a uniquely me book in a lot of ways. This is The Blackjack Demon #2. As you recall from The Blackjack Demon #1, this is kind of a boy crossing the Old West in search of he's pulling in Inigo Montoya. He's looking for a man who killed his father. After destroying their family mine. But bent on revenge, the young man soon realizes that this simple killer is something much darker. So that's issue 1. Issue 2 picks up The Blackjack Demon is a genre-breaking Western revenge tale focused on young Silas's journey through the changing American landscape, following the trail of carnage left behind by the mysterious figure. After enlisting the help of Humphrey, Silas has realized that he's not chasing a simple claim jumper, but something far more sinister. Fresh from an encounter with the Blackjack Demon, a now solitary Silas tracks the stranger through settlements in the shadow of the Eastern Rockies. So, it's Tombstone with a demon.
Tell him I'm coming and hell's coming with me.
It's true, though.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the next book on the list, and this is a both Dan and I book. So yes. I'm just going to move on to this. Written by Rodney Barnes, art by Tom Garcia, cover by Jason Sean Alexander. There's a variant by my dude Stuart Sager. There's also an Arthur Saddam variant. Jen talked to Rodney Barnes yesterday here on The Experience.
What did he have to say?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
After his most recent appearance in Dynamite Lives, Ashley Williams is now retired. Settled down, haunted by the Deadites and the Necronomicon no more. Wait, no, that ain't right. None of this is true. In fact, not only is Ash still haunted by the Deadites and Necronomicon, but he's haunted by both of them in the 1970s. Kids, ask your parents. Parents, ask yourself. And what does he find in the South Bronx of the late 70s? Gangs. And what have those gangs found? The Necronomicon. So what does that make the gangs? Badass. Well, you get the idea.
Shut your mouth. Yeah, it's I'm very connected to this series in a way that is not have anything to do with Dynamite or The Experience or Rodney Barnes, even though I'm connected to all of those things. So the Raimis, Bruce Campbell, everyone who worked on the original Evil Dead movies are from the Detroit area. And a lot of them still have ties to the filmmaking in Michigan. So I've worked with several of them and became great friends with several. So anytime Dynamite does one of these books, I'm the first dude up to buy them. Just because I love the story and want to support the story continuing. Even though most of the people who are associated with the original story are no longer associated with it. Super important to me to keep the story going.
Good.
Yes. Okay. Click the buttons, Kyle. Can you tell I'm getting I'm out of shape, Dan. I haven't done this like this way in so long that I'm like
a 2-hour show is a long time.
Well, and it's like I've done this from my couch a lot recently.
Yeah.
And so getting the muscles up to like sit in this chair and click this mouse and talking to this microphone. Oy. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll go to another Dynamite book.
Yeah, Elvira meets Vincent Price, #2.
Yes.
This, of course, is from David Avalon, who... wait, I don't have this one. I'm just so used to David Avalon and Juan Samu,
Yep.
Let you take over because I don't have this one.
The two titans of horror and comedy unite in comics for the very first time. Dynamite Entertainment proudly presents Elvira meets Vincent Price. Elvira and the ghost of Vincent Price continue their quest to find a lost cult movie and save the world from the wrath of an awakened Egyptian god. Their journey takes them to the crumbling country estate of a reclusive film director and his movie star bride. But things go all Dr. Phoebes before you can say House of Usher. Oh, really? Come for the sexy horror, stay for the terrible puns and movie trivia. So the reason I put this on there is because I wanted to talk about another book I bought. And ironically, House of Usher is a great reference. So as I referenced earlier, I'm working on a Edgar Allan Poe documentary. And I just recently picked up Poe's complete horror works, narrated by Vincent Price and Basil Rathbone.
Oh, nice.
Right? So here's the problem. And you guys got to tell me this in the comments too. And Dan, you got to weigh in. I find both of those guys' voices so soothing that I find myself not even remotely creeped out by the entirely creepy things that Poe wrote. Is that weird?
A little.
Like, I don't know if you've ever read Hop Frog, the Poe story, Hop Frog. It's a story of a court jester who is a little person who, after the king hits his girlfriend, essentially, the little person's girlfriend, he devises a plan to basically tar and thatch the king and all of his ministers and then immolate them. Not one you read in high school, guys. No. But because it was read by Basil Rathbone, it was just so calming and like, yeah, that's what you do in that situation.
It's funny is that Price is known for the creepy and all that now. But if you go back before he started doing the TV and movies and stuff, he did radio programs and he was the voice of the saint.
Yeah.
You know, so it was, I mean, totally different. The idea, because you picture Vincent Price and you're thinking, no, Roger Moore is the saint or Ian Ogilvy is the saint.
Right.
Nope, Vincent Price.
Right. No, it's like I said, it's one of those weird things where you're like, I know how this story ends. Like, I'm reading Murder in the Rue. I'm listening to Murder in the Rue Morgue right now. And it's like, I know how this ends. I'm all right with it.
A couple weeks ago, I did an interview with David Avalon, the writer of the Elvira meets Vincent Price. By the way, look for it on Twitter or on YouTube. It's a great interview. But he talks about the movie in that they're looking for. The idea is based on the fact that there is not quite the Mandela effect, where there's this missing Vincent Price movie, but there was a Vincent Price movie that was going to be made and didn't. But somebody was putting together one of those video guide books, knew the movie was going to come out, wanted to include it, reviewed it, never having seen it, and it's listed in this VHS guide, even though the movie was never made.
That is incredibly interesting.
Yeah. So that's where the idea, that's what led David to the idea.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to we already did Dead Box.
Yes.
All right, there are some books missing here that I need to load up. We're gonna have to go through them as we go here. So this is Snelson. Number 2. I missed Snelson number 1, and I apologize. I should know about these books well before they come out. This is from Ahoy Comics. It's by Paul Constant and Fred Harper. Let me read you the solicitation on number 1, and then I'll tell you about number 2. In the 1990s, edgy stand-up comic Melville Snelson had it all. But 25 years later, his jokes come off as tired and offensive. Desperate for a comeback, Snelson sets out on tour with a group of young, socially conscious comedians. Kid, a 90s has-been hit the big time or is Snelson about to be canceled for good? A hilarious, definitely adult contemporary satire that mocks the dying breaths of white male entitlement from the writer of Ahoy's Planet of the Nerds.
We've talked about this book. You covered the first issue.
I don't think I did.
Well, I haven't read it, and that solicitation is familiar to me.
I don't think I did because I don't own this book. I had to order it last night from Miss Jen, because I gotta have it. So number 2 is Snelson's stand-up comedy is 2 decades past its sell-by date, and hecklers now outnumber fans. His interpretation of rejection as cancellation for being edgy propelled Snelson to the fringes of alt-right podcasting. All Ahoy titles include bonus illustrated prose stories. I just love how this is like a Larry King, Mark Maron look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for, like, if you go back and you look at some of the comedy of the early 90s, I'm a big fan of comedy.
Yeah.
You look at some of the things that Andrew Dice Clay did. You look back at some of the things that
Sam Kinison,
some of the late Sam Kinison, even some Mitch Hedberg jokes.
Yeah.
They're hard to stomach in today's culture.
Yeah.
And what I look for in this book, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, is kind of an examination of, do we look at it from the time in which it was presented, or do we look at it from now? And
yeah, that's
where does the relevance line up? Because some of the jokes are still relevant. Sam Kinison can still be funny, but you're not sure he is all the time.
right. Yeah, we have society has, well, I'd like to say society has grown. People have matured in thoughts and racial content that just wasn't there in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Jokes that, people would have said in the 70s now are just, passé.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because if you're an older person and you grew up with family and stuff that would make those kind of jokes without the hatred behind them, because you weren't taught the hatred, but
right.
the stereotype jokes were there. You've got to stop yourself because those jokes still come to mind.
Well, the question I ask, and I asked this of a film writer the other day, does Blazing Saddles get a pass because so many of the jokes that would be considered offensive were written by Richard Pryor?
That's not true, by the way.
A lot of the jokes that
Mel
include
Brooks wrote most of the Cleavon Little jokes, of the Black Bart jokes. Richard Pryor wrote most of the Mongo stuff.
That's kind of what I was talking about. Like, some of those stereotypes are a little backwards in that movie, or are backwards from what you'd think in that movie. So does it get a pass? Does it, it's, and Alex Karras, I think, said a great thing about it towards the end of his life, is that playing Mongo was a lot of fun. I just hope that someday Mongo isn't something people can't watch anymore.
Yeah. I think Blazing Saddles gets a pass because even though it was done in the 70s, it was somewhat progressive.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about a story about a black slave being made a sheriff.
Sure.
And regardless of the motivations behind it, he did get the town to rally behind him. He did become the hero of the story.
Yep.
So
no, absolutely. Like I said, it's one of those things is that's what I'm hoping to see from this book. And I haven't read it yet. So we'll see. But that's what I'm hoping is this look at, does comedy exist in the time in which it was created, or does it exist across all time? And how do we look at that?
Yeah.
So, all right.
And there's other Mel Brooks movies that fall in that too. History of the World has some.
Really, all Mel Brooks movies.
Yeah, but they were a product of their time.
Yep, absolutely. So, it's that time, though. We're going to take our last commercial break. Then we're going to come back, and we have, as best I can tell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more books to talk about.
Okay.
And we will see everybody on the other side of this break.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is In Stores This Week. I am Kyle. I'll be rejoined momentarily by Dan, but I want to take a minute to remind you guys that wherever you are in the country, go to comicshoplocator.com, type in the area, the 5-digit zip code, area code, the 5-digit number of the place where you are, and it will tell you where comic shops are around you. So do that. Like, I have to go to Baltimore, like we've been talking about several times. I'm going to be doing that so I can visit some dope comic book stores in the Baltimore area.
Your comic shops sell dope?
I mean, you can only hope.
I mean, it is Baltimore. I used to watch Baltimore live on the streets.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen The Wire. But
shout out to Michael
yep.
who passed away.
Yep. No, but you can only hope. I mean, especially if I'm going to have to deal with the ghost of Admiral Fell. So,
do you think he's related to Norman Fell?
I don't know. I was hoping he was related to Admiral Byrd, but I don't think that's how that works.
No, usually it's the last name, not the rank for relations.
Are you sure? I mean, because he could be like a Kentucky colonel.
No.
Okay.
I don't think Major Frank Burns is related to Major Payne either.
Oh, absolutely they are.
Those are about as obscure references I could have pulled.
You forgot Major Dad.
How could I forget Gerald McRaney? I mean,
It's true.
geez. Yeah. Oh, we got a Green Lantern book, huh?
Yeah. Speaking of people whose first name or second names connect them, the Lanterns.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Now,
matter what your color is, you're still a lantern.
This whole night, every time somebody, Kyle mentions somebody is my guy. Well, this one's written by a friend of mine and guy I play D&D with occasionally, Ryan Cady.
Nice.
And drawn by Sami Basri. And once on an agoraphobic scared.
Once an agoraphobic, scared even to leave her room, Jessica Cruz overcame her fear to become a Green Lantern and face the darkest and deadliest threats in the universe.
But now, Jessica's gone from overcoming fear to using it as a weapon. When Yellow Lanterns attacked the Green Lantern sector house, she took refuge in when the central power battery was destroyed. Okay.
Oh, there's supposed to be a comma there.
Yeah.
When the Yellow Lanterns attacked the Green Lantern sector house that she took refuge in when the central power battery was destroyed, Jessica turned the tables on them, giving them something to be afraid of as she beat them one by one. But now that she's been offered a place in the Sinestro Corps, will she accept? Wow. You know, the assistant editor on this is Bixie Matthew and Mike Cotton. Guys, can you edit the solicitation copy, please?
Yeah, that was rough. That was a rough solicitation, I got to tell you.
I shouldn't have to figure out where semicolons go.
No.
For professional writers.
I kind of like the idea of Jessica Cruz becoming a Sinestro. Yeah, part of the Sinestro Corps, Yellow Lantern. I think it's a nice mix-up, and there are times it feels like there are just too many Green Lanterns that they're trying to highlight and focus, you know? And they start losing their importance and stuff. So it would be neat to see her kind of move into this other category and kind of, stand out a little bit more. Will she? Probably not. They'll probably end up bringing her back after the annual. But I like it.
I like the Sinestro Corps. They're my favorite corps that isn't the Red Lantern Corps.
I find the Orange Lantern Corps kind of funny.
Yes.
Because it's Laura Flees, and that's about it. Yeah.
Well, do you need anybody else, really?
I liked when Lex Luthor became an Orange Lantern.
Yeah.
Because that was perfect, you know?
Every time Lex has become a lantern, it's been a good time.
True.
Yeah. And it's funny, like, I want one story where Lex becomes a lantern because he goes to a pawn shop and is the only person who recognizes what that weird ring is.
Didn't Kyle get his ring from a pawn shop?
Yes. Yeah, that's why everybody hates Kyle Rayner. And just generally people named Kyle.
Well, it's a silly name.
I can say that because I are one. You can't make fun of him unless you are one, and I are one. All right. So this is from Scholastic Books. And I put it on my list because it's on my pull. This is Steve Fox and Shadia Amin.
Yeah, it's just Amin. Amin.
Yeah, I've got two different spellings of her last name here in my order form. Peter Porker, Spectacular Spider-Ham, Great Power, No Responsibility. An original graphic novel for children. It's from Graphics. It's a chapter book, but it's also a graphic novel. Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, and breakout character from Into the Spider-Verse, arrives in this all-new original graphic novel for younger readers. Experience a laugh-out-loud day in the life of Spider-Ham. After long being derided by the citizens of New York, Spider-Ham has finally been recognized for his outsized contribution to the city's safety and receives a key to the city from none other than the mayor. And being a cartoon universe, the key actually unlocks New York City's political and financial institutions. Sure, it's just a publicity stunt for the beleaguered mayor, and yeah, maybe every single other superhero was busy that day, but an award's an award. Of course, Spider-Ham isn't paying attention to the fine print telling him he didn't actually get to keep the key, and he swings off without returning the highly coveted oversized object. The next day, when the mayor's office finally gets in touch to ask for the key back, Spider-Ham realizes he must have dropped it sometime in the last 24 hours. Yikes. Now our notoriously empty-headed hero must retrace his steps from the past day, following his own trail to discover where he dropped the key before it falls into villainous hands.
Is this the solicitation, or are you reading the book?
This is the solicitation. Did he lose it during a rooftop chase with the black catfish? Drop it in the middle of a tussle with the green gobbler? Leave it behind while visiting Proctor Strange's magic mansion? Apparently, accidentally store it next to May Porker's vacuum cleaner, Who knows? You'll have to read to find out. But one thing is for sure, great power, no responsibility is an action-packed, hilarious adventure perfect for younger readers. Look,
He's
It
eating
says-
a hot dog.
yeah. Guys,
He's a pig. It's cannibalism.
it could be all beef. You don't know. You don't know his life. Could be an all beef hot dog. Could be kosher. We don't know. But look, so here's the thing, and this is why I put this on the list, and this is why I ordered it. If you have young people in your life who you're looking to get into superhero comics, but
or
are
cannibalism.
or cannibalism, but
Paging
are more
Army Hammer. Paging Army Hammer.
but they're more into the comedy, the Rick and Morty's, the the kind of the younger, not necessarily younger shows, but the animated comedies and that kind of stuff. This is great for them. If they saw Into the Spider-Verse and just need something to grab onto, this is great for them. But also, if you're a grown-up reader like myself, who sometimes gets a little flustered
With big words?
with the how do I put this? The heaviness that come in a lot of your superhero comics these days.
Yeah.
Especially this week's Spider-Man, which we can talk about in just a second. This is a great kind of just, it's a small book. It's a small little chapter book for kids. It's a great way to kind of cleanse your palate. But we talked about Spider-Ham, so we could talk about Spider-Man. This week is Amazing Spider-Man 73, which I didn't load up at first because I wasn't sure I was going to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it.
Wait, you have a Marvel and a DC book on your list this week.
I'm still not sure I'm going to buy this one.
Okay.
This is Amazing Spider-Man 73, Sinister War Part 3. The cover is loading. There it is. We can't tell you a single thing that happens here without spoiling it, without spoiling just about every issue that comes out between the time you're reading this and when an ASM 73 comes out. Well, it's great because ASM 73 is coming out.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to mention here is that in the back of this book, there is a 9/11 tribute, because this is the book most closely released to the 20th anniversary. Spider-Man did an amazing job of handling this big national tragedy. They did a really good job. Who was it? It was J. Michael Straczynski, John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna did the work. And that book really did a lot for a lot of people. But Spider-Man has a tendency to get heavy sometimes. So just know that the Sinister War has been a lot of fun. But this book has a tendency to get heavy as well. So maybe balance it out with a Spider-Ham.
Good idea. And a hot dog.
And a hot dog. If you can find a hot dog that hasn't been on one of those rollers at a gas station, I would suggest it.
Dude, those are the best.
Yeah, but you never know if you're going to get salmonella or not.
Look, my theory is that I never got COVID because I eat those hot dogs from 7-Eleven regularly. Now
I get the taquitos.
But no, I get those hot dogs off the rollers. I walk in, the guy looks up, goes, 2? Yeah, and the next thing I know, I got hot dogs waiting for me.
No, it's no, I'm not saying there's wrong. I prefer 7-Eleven nachos.
Mm. Now I've been looking at getting one of those little roller things for the house.
Okay, I will send you a link. There's a thing out there called the Crank-a-Frank, and it's for camping out. Mm-hmm. But you put a hot dog on either side of this thing that looks like a fishing rod, and you turn it, and it rotisserie cooks the hot dogs over an open flame.
Nice.
So it's one of those, Jay, we all need those rollers. I would just put, you know what I'd put on mine? Taquitos. All right. So the last book you'll ever read is the last of my books for this week. which is ironic because it's the last book you'll ever read. This is it's a Cullen Bunn story, continuing where it left off. Olivia Cade's cross-country book tour kicks off and is immediately met with resistance. The public lashes out against her treatise on the collapse of society, and it's Connor Wilson's job to keep her safe. As events surrounding the tour grow more violent, more surreal, and more horrific, Connor can't help but wonder, is Olivia's books bringing about strange changes in the world? I will say this. Do you guys remember when 50 Shades of Grey came out? And you'd see like one of your coworkers reading it at work, and like their eyes would be glazed over. This is that.
You mean it's poorly written fan fiction?
No, the book this woman has written does that to people.
Okay.
Except with instead of getting a mom response that, the kind of response moms gives to 50 Shades, they do bad stuff. Can't really tell you what they do without spoiling it, but it's not good. Okay.
Yep. Blue and Gold, number 2.
Yes.
Yep.
Because
Dan Jurgens and Ryan Sook.
Yeah, we need more Blue Beetle and Booster Gold in our lives.
Absolutely.
We just got done talking about how comics could be lighter, and we found the lightest.
Yes. Though like you, I am a fan of Ryan Sook, but I would love for Dan Jurgens to be drawing this as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Who needs the Justice League anyway? Our heroes certainly don't. After a painful rejection from the DC Universe's team of A-list heroes, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle strike out on their own. Thanks to the Cord Industries' fortune, anything is possible for the dynamic duo, right? Little do they know, an alien assassin seeking revenge places Blue and Gold in her crosshairs, and the Omnizon never misses. Okay, you know it's going to be a silly book when the villain's name is Omnizon.
It's true. Well, you know it's going to be a silly book when it's called Pink Slip, and it's Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
Yes. Sean says, how did I not know about this series? Yeah, you definitely want to see if they have the number 1. It's a fun series. It's the blah-ha-ha-ha era all over again.
It really is. It's... Oh, I'm loving this. So I actually have 2 DC books on my list this week, Dan.
Oh.
But
wow.
does Blue Beetle and Booster Gold really count?
Yeah, they really do.
Okay. Well, then what about the other one, Basket Full of Heads? Does it really count?
No, that one doesn't.
Okay. Did you notice that at the bottom of the comic or the photo or whatever on the cover?
Art by Dan Jorgensen.
Yeah, art by Danny Jorgensen.
Yeah.
That's funny. Like that's what this book is, guys. It's Dan Jurgens, and they're making Dan Jurgens jokes.
Mm-hmm. Danny Jorgensen, Al's little brother.
Yes. Ooh, that's a deep cut.
Thank you.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Mm.
I would doff my hat, but I haven't combed my hair.
Fair enough.
No, it's yeah, like seriously, guys. Lighter side of comics: Spider-Ham, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle.
Mm-hmm.
That's. And then we'll come back to the heavy side with Infinite Frontier number 6 of 6. This is finally drawing to an end.
Yes,
and maybe we'll get some answers.
Joshua Williamson and Zermanico. One story ends and the next phase of the DC multiverse begins. We have one name for you, Darkseid. Our heroes knew that someone had been pulling the strings this entire time, but are they prepared to be the biggest bad? Are they prepared for it to be the biggest bad of all? As President Superman, Alan Scott, Roy Harper, and the rest converge for a showdown, the secret of Omega Planet is revealed. Plus, Barry Allen is put on a path he may never get off.
Of.
No, it doesn't say of.
I understand, but it really should.
I know. But it doesn't.
I wish DC would reread this stuff. I like Darkseid, yay!
Yeah.
But it's just, and this is the thing. This was a limited series event that's leading into another limited series event that's leading into another limited series event that's leading into another limited. Just call them ongoings.
Yeah. Yep.
I am excited, though, for answers.
Answers would be nice, but I have a feeling there's going to be less answers and more questions since they're going to be moving on to something else.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
And like, when you look at the list of characters in this, I mean, Granny Goodness shows up, for God's sakes.
Shout out to Ed Asner.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I mean, Robert Todd, Mr. Bones shows up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like there's characters in it you don't see all the time. Super Doom from Earth 45. Upside Down Man.
Hmm.
Like, everybody shows up in this book, and we're still not sure we're going to get an answer.
Yeah.
Why do I let him do this to me? I'll tell you why. Darkseid. So, all right, guys. Those are all the books on Dan and I's list this week. Also, just something to throw out there.
You missed one.
What do we missed?
Black Manta #1.
Oh, I was trying to block it out.
It's Black Manta.
Yeah.
They did a good job with him in the Aquaman movie.
Disagree.
He looked cool. It was a cool fight.
Okay, yeah, he looked cool. But I don't see anything in that movie that was good.
Okay, you just hate movies.
No, I just hate Aquaman.
Oh, okay.
Like, really hate Aquaman.
Yeah, there goes getting Jason Momoa for the show.
I will talk to Jason Momoa all day long about his new Apple TV show, but I cannot stand Aquaman.
All right, Black Manta #1, Chuck Brown and Valentine DeLandro. Following his appearance in Aquaman 80th Anniversary 100-page Super Spectacular from last week, The Scourge of the Seas now gets his own series. Black Manta is chasing a rare metal with incredible powers. Vibranium, anybody? And he's not the only one who wants to get his hands on it. Friends and foe alike. Torrid is a former ally who has escaped hell, literally, to answer the call of the metal. But can Manta trust her? Hopefully so, because he might need her help to fend off Devil Ray, a new competitor for the role of the biggest villain underwater. Introducing new hero Torrid and villain Devil Ray. Plus, both Aquaman, the Becoming #1, and Black Manta #1 feature a connecting variant cover by Francis Manapul. I like the character. I've always liked Black Manta.
Yeah, it ain't. So Sean wants to know if I dislike him in general or just the comics. I dislike him in general. Team Namor. But so some other things. Huh?
You prefer your underwater swimming guys to be in just Speedos and not a full outfit?
I prefer my underwater swimming guys to be able to come and steal your girlfriend. Which, ask Reed Richards about that one.
Ask Oren about that one.
Oh, that's fair. That's a good point. Okay. Okay, they're tied. No, I'm kidding. I'm a big fan of Namor.
And only one of them has silly little wings on his ankles.
Yeah, I like the silly little wings.
Nobody likes the silly little wings.
I do. You know why I dislike Aquaman?
Why?
From the Super Friends TV show.
Hmm.
He was just a pain in the neck.
But to counter that, what they did with him in Brave and the Bold was great.
I will agree to that, but I think that's what soured me on him forever.
Hmm.
So, some other things to look out for this week in the trade paperback and hardcover paperback. So I'm not going to read you the solicitation, but it collects Batman 59, 62 and 63, 81, 92, 105, 113, 114, 121, 122, and 128, plus Detective Comics 156, 168, 185, 187, 215 to 216, 233, 235, 236, 241, 244, 252, 267, 269, and World's Finest 81 and 89. So I just named off a whole bunch of books that if you go ahead and go price them, they're out of your range, almost guaranteed. Those are hugely important keys in the Batman story, all of which came out in the 1950s. So, I mean, you get the debut of Deadshot, the original Batwoman, Kathy Kane, Mr. Zero, who would go on to fame as Mr. Freeze, the original Red Hood, Batmite, Thomas Wayne, the origin of Thomas Wayne as Batman, how Batman became like Superman on Zur-En-Ah, and the secrets of Batman's utility belt, and an introduction to the Batmobile. All of these are big. All of these are keys. They're going to be hard to come by individually. This is a great way to pick them up.
Yep. Unless you lose your key like Spider-Ham does.
That's true. Don't lose your keys, guys.
Yes. Losing your keys is bad.
But also, Batman Fortnite 0 Point hardcover is out finally.
Mm-hmm.
But something else I wanted to just throw out there, they're reissuing the Fantastic Four omnibuses of the classic Silver Age Fantastic Fours. So it's they're, like I said, they're redoing them, and they have two covers. They have a new hardcover for the 2021 printing, and then they have the direct market variants, which are classics Fantastic Four covers. They're also doing a Mighty Marvel Masterworks of the Avengers, which is Avengers Volume 1. Excuse me. Again, these are books that might be otherwise hard to come by, unless you pick it up this way. So I just wanted to... Oh, and the last thing. Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man all collected into one omnibus.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So those books are a little easier to get, but still not super simple. So it's something to think about. Like, these are hardcovers and trade paperbacks, and they're a great way to pick up books you couldn't otherwise pick up. Like, simple as that, really. So, all right, Dan.
Dude, we did almost 2 hours.
We did.
So
is there... Well, we're going to see for how long. But is there anything else we need to tell the folks about?
For the gentleman who asked earlier what books they should be buying, check out Dynamic Forces Collectibles show tomorrow. And also on Friday, we do it 3 times a week. And Nick and his crew put out some really great classic books. Some of them are remarked, some of them are signed. But definitely check out the Dynamic Forces show and our other shows on here. Mm-hmm. There's some great deals out there. So if you're looking for books to buy as investments, start checking out those shows as well.
Absolutely. All right. And then check out Dan's shows when Dan is on at Dan Times.
That's right. Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Thursdays this week will be 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Next week, the Dan Wickline show on Thursday is going to move up So all 3 days will be at the same time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you can get your Dan Wickline show at the same time all 3 days.
Same damn time, same damn channel.
Dan channel. Yep.
I didn't mean to swear there. I meant to say Dan, but I said damn anyway. So I think it's time to get off the air, don't you?
Good timing. Yep.
All right. We'll see everybody next time.
Joel, Jay, good night, everybody.
See you guys.